Let's take a look then at Grant Shapps, because he's had quite the career. He's now Defence Secretary, as I was saying, genuine high flyer who holds a pilot's licence. So let's take a look at Grant Shapps' life and times in politics. He founded his own printing company at the age of 21. He then went on to win the seat of Welwyn Hatfield in 2005. He was a rising star under David Cameron. I sat through many of these shadow housing briefings they used to do for the regional lobby. His figures didn't always add up, but they were fun. He then became a housing minister in the coalition and then made it into the cabinet as party chairman. He then had to resign from that post. Cameron stood by him when he emerged. He'd previously been a multi-million-dollar web marketeer under the pseudonym Michael Green.
I don't have a second job and have never had a second job whilst being an MP. End of story.
Although he did have a pseudonym. He was also international trade minister, but resigned. Oh, that was when he resigned after revelations he'd been warned about bullying in the party that led to the death of a young activist. He was back with a bang in 2019 when he was made transport secretary, allowing him to make this promise.
Trains on time, clean.
A staunch defender of the government, he came out to bat over and over again for Boris Johnson.
I think we can be pretty clear the Prime Minister didn't present a cake to himself.
One of my favourites, though, when Matt Hancock was caught in an embarrassing embrace with his aide during lockdown.
As I understand that photograph, it looks like it was after the unlock stage, as it were.
Not heard it called that before. After Boris Johnson, he briefly had a go at running for Tory leader with this promise.
I can help you win your seat.
Then he backed Rishi Sunak, falling out of favour with his trusts, did his bit to get her out of office, tracking rebels on a spreadsheet so big that he needed a special phone.
Grant Shapps, who was very concerned about Liz Truss's regime, was going around with his Samsung phone, which folded out.
It folded out so you could see the spreadsheet. When Liz Truss was then forced to bring him back into the cabinet as Home Secretary after Suella Braverman had resigned, then she resigned the following day. Rishi Sunak then made him business secretary, allowing him to travel the world and say things like this.
Surprisingly, salmon sushi wasn't really a thing in Japan just 30 years ago.
And he's been legendary on going on the TV and radio ever since, with the government is in a tight spot. They stand for Grant Shapps, as Sky's Sophie Ridge observed.
On weeks in Westminster, where it seems everything has been set on fire, you were the one sitting in the seat on Sunday. Are you number 10's human fire blanket?
I'm sure it's entirely coincidental.
Well, there we are. So in the last 12 months, he has had 5 jobs. So he was Transport Secretary until the beginning of September last year. Then he was sacked by Liz Truss. Then he was brought in as Home Secretary for basically a day. Then he became Business Secretary, then Energy Security and Net Zero Secretary, and now Defence Secretary.